My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have a former Bristol Blue of the then FCBL and currently at Quinnipiac. His name is Kyle Maves. Kyle, thanks so much for being able to come on today.
Thanks for having me on, Chris. I appreciate it.
You know what, Kyle, being able to see you play for Bristol and kind of seeing you get better and progress as the season went on, we'll get into that later, but I just want to say you had an impressive year with the Blues, man, and it's a season that a lot of people in Bristol, and I can tell you, still talk about to this day.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it was definitely a fun summer. Bunch of good guys on the team, and we made a pretty good run there. So I definitely enjoyed myself, and I think I got better as a baseball player too. So great summer overall.
And the ride was fun. Like I said, we'll get into that season and what happened later on, but let's talk about you specifically. Just tell me about your journey into playing baseball and what got you into it.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. So I actually used to play lacrosse when I was a young kid. I played hockey and lacrosse, and then when I was young, I think I was 8 or 9 maybe, and I was just like, I kind of want to play baseball. Like the dugout seems like a lot of fun. Like I always loved the dugout, the social aspect of it when I was younger. So my dad would take me over to the local diamond. He would just hit me ground balls, and I just hit batting practice. He bought me a bat for Christmas. And then I eventually went and tried out for the rep team, the local travel team, and I made the highest level. And I had never played like house league or anything like that. I just made the highest level right away because I had really good hand-eye coordination from lacrosse. And then I just basically played hockey and baseball all the way up into high school. And then grade 10 came where you kind of have to make a call as to what you're going to kind of specialize in, if you will. That's when the OHL draft is for hockey. So from there, I was just like, I evaluated my options, and I just thought that I was probably had a better shot to make it in baseball. And from there, I went to a different team, moved to a team in Etobicoke. I used to play in my local town, but I went to a different team, played there for 2 years, and then moved to a really, really good travel team in London, Ontario. So it's like an hour and a half from my house. And that's where I kind of took the next step and was able to kind of really become a college prospect and get those opportunities. So yeah, it's been quite the journey.
You mentioned about how you play 2 sports, and that's great that, I love to hear about, athletes who play more than one sport, because I've always felt like it kind of expands their athletic ability, and also just to get away from the sport they're playing now and focus on other things. You mentioned how lacrosse helped your hand-eye coordination. What did hockey do for you as far as baseball?
To be honest, I think the one thing that hockey helped me with was my speed.
I'd agree with that.
If you look at some of the more notable hockey players like Sidney Crosby, they're known for having like tree trunk legs, like absolutely thick legs, and I think that kind of developed my speed. And I have kind of an unusual running style, but I think it works because I am pretty fast. So I think hockey helped me in that regard. So
don't forget too, you're also yoked. I mean, you're jacked. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
The biggest dudes. I'm telling you, you're one of the most jacked dudes in the FCBL. Let's be real here.
Yeah, I like to go to the gym a little bit. So
yeah, just a little bit, just a little.
Yeah.
Now, I really want to know, too? Did hockey kind of bring that kind of slap karate chop bunt? Because, like, come on, that's when you did that against the Suns, against that left-hander who the name is escaping me, but I know he's from a NESCAC school. I was going berserk on the broadcast. I was like, what is this? This is pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually learned it from my coach at that team in London. He played in the big leagues for the Red Sox, and he kind of sat me down at the beginning of my 18U year, so my last year before going to Quinnipiac, and he kind of said that the best chance for me to play moving to the next level was to kind of be that scrappy guy, that guy that's going to be really tough out. And so he was kind of getting me to learn how to get on base any way I could. So before every BP round, he would have me do one drag bunt to third base, and then he taught me this pull bunt. So you would basically push it to first base. You're trying to get it in that Bermuda triangle in between the pitcher, the first baseman, and the second baseman. So he actually said kind of treat it like a hockey wrist shot almost, like try and just kind of like slowly move your wrist down type thing. So Yeah, I guess kind of the motion was learned from hockey, if you could say that.
Mhm.
But it's definitely a tool that I kind of acquired, and that obviously when a lefty falls off to that side towards that third base side, it opens up a pretty big hole there, and it's just kind of a tool that I have to combat the lefty specialist. So
It worked well for you. I mean, you got plenty of hits off it during the season. You had the
yeah.
speed where even if you hit a hard chopper, depending on where it was in the infield, your speed was able to really give you that extra maybe second or two to beat even some of the best arms in the FCBL.
Yeah, for sure. As long as that pitcher falls off, or even if he doesn't, if you can
Mhm.
kind of get it down in that triangle, and you have a good amount of speed, it's pretty much game over. That first baseman's not going to be able to make that play, and the second baseman's going to have to make a ridiculous glove flip backhand or something just to even have a chance at getting you out. So it's a pretty good bunt, a pretty good play if you can get it down right. So
As you were moving up the chain and kind of figuring out who you were as a baseball player, did you know early on? Because, no disrespect, you're not going to hit 40 to 50 bombs, which
yeah,
is fine. That's,
yeah.
trust me, I don't like dudes who hit 40 or 50 bombs. Guys like you who get on base, have a high on base percentage, don't strike out and put the ball in play. Those are a rare kind of player. And did you know that as an early, in an early age?
Yeah, I would say early on when I first started, I was kind of just a slap the ball to shortstop and beat it out when guys didn't have the arm strength to make the throws from shortstop. And then as I moved up, I was kind of one of those late puberty kids. Like, how there's those kids that hit puberty really early and they get big and they have kind of an advantage over everyone, even when the fences are small. I
Mhm.
was kind of one of those kids that never really grew until like middle of high school. So I kind of had to learn to play the game that way and kind of be that scrappy player, to try and get on any way I could just to help my team. So yeah, I would say right around 12, 13, when everyone started growing and I stayed the same height. I had to do something to separate myself from the other small kids. So just trying to get on base any way I could. I found that was the best way to do that.
With you growing later compared to others as far as just your strength and your height and everything, did was there kind of an adjustment as far as playing the game? Because I know, talking to like basketball players, especially at the high school level, there was one kid that I talked to. He was a junior and he
Mhm.
was 6 foot, and there was one way he shot the ball, and then by the time he was a senior, which was less than 12 months, he grew over 5 inches and he had to change his shooting motion. Now, the reason why I
Yeah.
bring that up, was there anything for you that you had to kind of get acclimated to because you were getting bigger and stronger?
I wouldn't say too much. I would basically just say that like as I grew, I kind of kept getting better, like going to better levels of baseball.
Mhm.
And then once I kind of started working out, because even when I grew, I was still 5'5", 5'6", 140, 130 pounds. And then I started working out, and it was kind of a perfect storm of I had that final stretch, final growth spurt, if you will.
Mhm.
And that's right when I started working out, and I think kind of had a little bit of enhanced testosterone at that time, or something. But I got pretty big pretty quick, and that helped me with my tools. Because before I basically had no tools. I had no arm. I was fast in the game, but I didn't run a good 60 because I was shorter, right?
Mhm.
Um, but right as I kind of started working out, that's when I made the jump to that team in London, and then kind of went from there. So I kept increasing levels, and I would say that I just every level that I increased went to, I found that hey, I can play with these guys, and it's kind of continued that way on ever since. So
At the point of your career right now, are you thinking about the pros, or is it kind of just you're taking it year by year, and if it happens, it happens?
yeah, I would say you're obviously thinking about it, right? Like every day I work and I work out and do my running and stretch and stuff, to try and get better as a ball player. And I'm going to become the best ball player that I can be in the time that I have to play. And if it happens, then awesome. If it doesn't, I'll have a good fallback option with a good degree from Quinnipiac. But it's definitely something that I would love to do, if the opportunity presented itself. And I'm not going to leave anything on the table. So I'm going to take every opportunity that I can to get better, and see how far my talent and my ability can take me. So
Have you talked to any scouts yet as far as how they look at you as a ball player right now?
so I actually my couple of my coaches from that team in London are scouts. So one of them scouts for the Jays. Another one of them scouts. I think he scouts for the Royals. So they kind of just want to see me hit for a high average and get a lot of stolen bases. My first year I had 17, so that was pretty good because I didn't start every single game. I
Mhm.
only started about half, so that's a pretty good number as a first year player. But they definitely just want to see a good average and lots of stolen bases, and they think that if I can continue to progress and develop, that I could potentially be a senior sign. So that's like a late round, like late draft pick type thing, signed for no money. But that's all I would need is just an opportunity, right? I'm not going to be that guy that gets drafted in the 4th round because he has all the tools. I know that's not me. So
Mhm.
kind of just knowing my game and my abilities is something, and they kind of talk to me about that. So
And there's nothing wrong with being drafted 10th round, 15th round, because honestly, like you said, and I think if you asked any college player or even a high school player that's drafted late and they want to prove it, just say, take me. Just get
yeah,
me into a minor league complex something, and then you're going to fight. And, being able to watch your games and seeing you for the Blues, you fight, man. So I know that
yeah.
if you get the chance, you're going to make sure that everything is left on the field.
Exactly. Yeah. If I got that opportunity, there would be, I would take every single opportunity that I could to make the most of it. And um, like I said, like every level I've gone to, I've kind of found, oh, I can play with these guys. Like I've always thought when I was in high school, I thought Division I baseball was the pinnacle, and I thought I would never attain it. And then I just kept working, and then eventually got a scholarship. And then when I got there, I was like, geez, I can play with these guys. So there's no reason why that can't happen at the pro level. So.
Now, talk to me first before we get to the Blues. What did you learn with Quinnipiac through your first, let's say, season? What did you learn specifically about the game, the college game?
Um, well, firstly, I would say that everyone works their butt off. I think I showed up my first week, and the first day that we moved in on campus, guys within an hour of moving their stuff in, everyone was at the field. My whole class was at the field, hitting and throwing and taking ground balls, and everyone on the team just wants to get better. Um, which in high school you don't see that, right? It's only the kind of the select few group that they really want to push themselves. And then I would say also that, obviously guys make less mistakes than in high school. Fielders are going to make more plays in the hole that they didn't quite make in high school. And then the pitching. The biggest thing I learned, and actually Ian Osberg, he played for the Blues. You remember him?
I remember him
So
very well.
I remember in the fall, like one of my first inter squad games, he was like, the biggest difference between high school pitching and college pitching is that in high school, every pitch you have a chance to do something with. In college, you might get one or two. So he basically said they're going to make one, maybe two mistakes in an at bat, and you have to capitalize on that, or else you're in trouble for the rest of that bat. So I think that was the biggest thing that I learned early on, and I was able to take from him. So
Yeah, and also too, college pitchers, especially at the Division I level, they can command their stuff a lot better than a lot of high school kids. Where if the
yeah,
catcher's setting up inside, more often than not, they're going to hit the glove, inner half of the plate.
100%. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
They hit their spots, and obviously they have better stuff, but they hit their spots. And I think another thing is they're able to throw 3 pitches, which you don't see too much in high school, is the ability to throw 3 pitches for strikes and mixed in a changeup, which I didn't see too much in high school. You see that changeup, and it's a guy that has a good changeup. It's the hardest pitch to hit in baseball for a reason. You're gearing up for that fastball, and he drops in the changeup. It's tough. So for sure, yeah,
it doesn't help. It definitely helps that you were able to get a lot of at bats with the Blues. And now we're going to, really jump into that because that's the time where I was able to see you play. Just
yeah.
talk to me about your first, before even the game started, just take me into when you first stepped onto Muzzy Field for practice.
So I actually didn't have a practice because I came from the
Oh,
regional
yeah, I
in East
forgot about that.
Carolina.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
So I showed up, and the first game was an away game at Brockton.
Mhm.
And I remember like it was yesterday. Austin White was leading off, and I think he took like a strike that he didn't think was a strike, and he started laughing. And I was like, what
That's
is
typical
going on?
Austin White, though.
Yeah, I was like, what is this kid doing? But then and I'm like, what have I got myself into? But then as you move through the season, you get to know him, you realize that's just kind of the way he plays, right? He just plays really loose. But yeah, it's definitely I found it a whole lot different than college ball, obviously, because the atmosphere is a little more relaxed and loose. And it's kind of just a good opportunity to work on some stuff. But at the same time, you're playing in front of thousands of fans sometimes. So it's very interesting, and I found it pretty cool right off the bat, and I was really excited for the rest of the summer to come.
And there was a stretch from July 20th to the 29th that you had 4 games that you had 3 hits. 8 of the 9 games you recorded a hit. And in between that, I mean, that's when the bunt, the slap bunt that we like to call it, the sword bunt,
Yeah,
whatever. That was during that stretch. And I just
yeah,
want to ask, like, you were probably one of the hottest hitters in the FCBL at that time, and kind of just what clicked, if you remember, which I'm sure you do.
yeah. So I was actually the first beginning part of the season. I was actually dealing with kind of like a nagging injury. So my right hand, it was, I don't know if it was early on in the season, but I was kind of it was kind of bothering me a little bit. And then I remember we were playing, I think it was North Shore, and I fouled the ball back, and I went to like go back in the box, and I could barely even hold my bat in my right hand. That's how bad the pain was. So I decided to go see a doctor and get it looked at, and it turned out to be like a little chipped bone in my hand that was causing all that pain. And it would be fine if I was just sitting here or sitting in my bed or whatnot. But
Hmm.
when I went to swing for whatever reason, that was kind of the motion that set it off, set the pain off. So I actually went home for 2 weeks, um, and that might have been a little bit of an unfair advantage because I got to rest and relax by the pool. Everyone was grinding it out and playing games every day. But I came back and I made a slight adjustment with my hands. I felt that I was a little late on pitches as well, in addition to kind of having that injury because I had an extra little kind of hitch in my swing. So I just kind of raised my hands up a little bit, made my swing a little simpler, and um, I was able to come back and get a couple hits in the first couple games there, and then I think that built a little bit of my confidence. And then once I had that confidence, I just took off from there. So it's definitely a fun little period to play ball for sure.
And you definitely, you found a way to be able to stay on both the lineup card that Ronnie Palmer was given, but also, you kind of gave back, and maybe those 2 weeks it gave you the rest that you needed because in the
Yeah,
playoffs, played practically every game, hit 313, had 3 RBIs. I mean, you definitely produced for the Blues at the right time.
yeah. I've always thought of myself as kind of a big game player. Like I rise to the occasion, and most of the guys on the team really wanted to win and win it for the city of Bristol. They came out and supported us all year, and so we put in our best effort there. Ultimately it came up a little short, but I thought we played hard, and I thought we played really well, specifically that comeback against North Shore when we were down like 8-1 or whatever, and a couple guys quit on us, and we were able to say kind of, all right, screw you guys, and came back and won that game, and then came home and beat them. And
Hmm.
so
Nobody was happier than me, man. After
yeah,
game 2, I watched the game from first pitch to last pitch. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt like I was practically broadcasting the game. I was emotionally drained, so I can only
yeah,
imagine how you guys were.
yeah, it was we were pretty pissed off, but I think that only fueled us and wanted us to win even more. And
Hmm.
we really wanted to bring it home. It's too bad we didn't, but I think we kind of just ran out of juice at the end with the arms and stuff. But it's too bad that there's the innings limits and guys come back from injury and stuff. Would have been nice to have Nowak in there and stuff, but it is what it is. So
And don't forget, Ryan Locke too was another one. He was
Ryan
starting to
Locke,
come off at the right
uh,
time.
Cam Van,
Yep.
who else did we lose?
Who didn't we? Thakkar, remember him? Arjun
Yeah.
Thakkar. Watched him.
Jack Moore, he was very early.
Yep, he had an elbow
Slowers
thing.
had to leave. A lot of the guys.
Yeah, but that just goes to show, and I'll never forget after the game, a team of that dealt with so much adversity, and you guys were still like the one thing I noticed is that when I would talk to you guys before or after games, there never was an excuse. Oh, woe is me. Oh, look, all of our guys are getting hurt, or they're hitting their innings limit. We're just gonna pout and we're just gonna take it. You guys didn't do that. You fought until even the last game against the Bravehearts.
Yeah.
You guys had a special bond that not a lot of teams that I've seen in recent years have
Mhm.
had, and that says a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We had really good camaraderie, on and off the field, and we were able to bring in guys that contributed on the field. They would come in late and they would kind of mix right in with the group and, contribute on and off the field. And it was good to see that. And, guys like Buddy and guys like that just
Buddy
come in,
Dooley.
step in, and they're studs, right? They're studs right away. And so it was cool to have guys come in and contribute. And, even look at, what's his name?
What position?
Hold on, pitcher.
Pitcher, Marrero, Andrew?
No. I
Fiala?
can't think of his name. No. Whatever. Doesn't matter. It'll come to me.
What was the pitcher? Describe him.
Long hair. I should know.
James Dudanis.
No. Very end. Threw well against Worcester the one time.
Long hair. Who is it? If it's not Dudanis, who is it? He was the only one I thought with long hair.
No, he came right at the end of the year. I don't know why his name has escaped me. It's ridiculous, to be honest.
Oh, long hair. I don't know who. What school did he go to? Remember?
Bridgeport. I don't know why.
Jagger Duquette.
Yes, Jagger. That's what. Because it's such a unique name.
Nick Jagger himself.
Yeah, like even him. Like he came on and
he was the mascot.
He was the mascot, and he came on and he shoved, right? Like it was a very unique situation, but guys came in and they did their job. So I don't know why his name was escaping me, but
like, I'm not going to lie to you. When someone told me he was the mascot, they waited until the fourth inning to tell me. And I was like, no way. And then he told me after the game, he was like, yeah, dude, I was the mascot for the Blues. I'm like, what? Like, we're pulling the mascots out of here now?
He was best friends with my host brother. He would, they were mascots together at the beginning of the year, and then he joined the team at the end of the year. It was hilarious.
And that team that he shut down was almost the same exact Bravehearts team.
That was in the finals, yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm telling you, I would not underestimate the fact that he's like a twig. I'll tell you that right now.
I know. He's so skinny.
But he throws well, man. He does.
He does. He mixes it up.
Now, looking selfishly for yourself, what did you take from the Blues that kind of helped you? I understand what happened with COVID and it shortened your season. And, if I haven't told you already, I'm sorry that happened. It sucks. I feel for all of you guys. I really do. Yeah. But just looking at it, for what it was, what did you take from the Blues that helped you with Quinnipiac?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing was kind of the mental side. Obviously you can't really work too much while you're playing in the summer on your tools, right? You're not going to get much faster. You're not going to hit the ball further. But I think the biggest thing for me was the mental side and confidence. Learning to play with a ton of confidence in the field. I think that's the biggest thing to be successful in the infield is playing with confidence. I also got to play third and short, which I don't get to do at Quinnipiac too often. So that was pretty cool. And then on the other side of it, with the hitting, kind of just the approach. When I played at Quinnipiac in my freshman year, I wasn't too aggressive. I was pretty passive with the stick. I would often take one or two strikes and get myself into a hole. And I definitely with Bristol, I was able to kind of attack early and be aggressive, and not let myself get into holes like that and hit the pitches that I wanted to hit. So that was kind of the biggest thing. And I brought it into the fall, and I had a lot of success in the fall. I had a really good fall. And I think that was mainly due to Bristol and what I learned there and what I was able to put into place in Bristol. So,
the kind of players like yourself, the ones that are the studs, like, a couple years ago, the Blues had a player, Justin Henry Malloy, who was coming in. Yeah, Vanderbilt guy, talked to him, and he's got a chance to get drafted too. You know what I mean? Like, the guys who are going to be the high round guys who have all the tools. The FCBL is kind of just like let me just make sure my tools don't get graded lower than what they should. But guys like yourself, you grind every day, you bust your butt, and just like you said, if you could take one thing, and that for you is the mental side, that can carry on with you for the rest of your baseball career, however long it is.
100%. Yeah. It's definitely a unique opportunity to learn to play the game. And, you just got to playing the game every single day. And, you're coming in, and even if you went 0 for 4 with 2 Ks the night before, you're probably going to see your name on the lineup card again in the future. Which in college, I don't know if you can say the same thing. If you have couple tough games in a row, you might find yourself on the bench. But summer ball is a really good spot to work on your game, and I had a really good experience in Bristol. So
Kyle, we've just about run out of time, but I really do appreciate you coming on, and it's great to be able to talk with you again. I'm glad you're doing well, and we were able to talk a little bit about the Bristol Blues. And once again, like I said before, and I'll say it until the end of time, you and the rest of the Blues players were fantastic to broadcast, to cover, talk about, and it was a pleasure. It really was.
thank you, Chris. I appreciate you having me on.
That'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.